Hey folks, Sheldon from the Outlaw Speed Shop with my daily update. And I waited to do my daily update. I was listening, following along with Mini Dreams live feed. And so I was working on that and I waited till he was done so I wouldn't miss anything. Clean up my bench here. Oh, what the hell. Sorry. Amber alert. Some crazed whoever running wild through the countryside. Okay, so anyway, I'm working on this 57 Chevy dirt tracker, part of the series of at least 4 for my friend Gary, and we already did the 55. Now we're working on the 57. Let me give you a short background again. The build of these, this is a family. The father, three boys. The grandpa's the brains of the operation, and so they have these cars. And I'm not saying that these are all running exactly the same time or whatever. But, you know, the family, this is the family tree. So the 55 had the big bad 6-cylinder in it, and it was your regular dirt track racer. This one here is going to be, we haven't really decided if it's going to be dirt track or asphalt track, but still short track. And I'm thinking, I was talking about this car, the way it's built, going to be for like a half-mile track. So far what I've done is I've stripped the frame down, and then I've added some 62 Pontiac Catalina front suspension, so the upper and lower A-frame, spindles, ball joints, that whole thing, so it's got a beefier front suspension. Also, it's going to be running a 421 Pontiac heavy duty for power, and it'll also have a Pontiac rear end in it, which I still have to go and find me one. I have several somewhere, so just gotta go digging. But anyway, so that's kind of the idea. And the more, so let's just go down the list a little bit more. So the 57 is going to be that. The 56 is going to be the short dirt tracker. It's going to be like, and it's going to be beat up. It's like the learner. It's like the first one you get to drive. And it gets passed down. It gets passed down. And so the one son has kind of stepped up now, and he drives the 55 with the 6 in it. And then this one here, maybe one that either the son or the dad drives. That's the probably the oldest son. So this is moved up to the half-mile track, maybe an asphalt track. And the 58 Chevy is going to be the biggest, baddest of them all. And it's going to be something that, like a late model sportsman car, something that let's say you were in the South, that you'd run, maybe run at Darlington or, something like that. Not a Daytona car, but, something you'd run on a mile track or a mile and a half track, or, Richmond or, North Wilkesboro, Martinsville, that kind of thing. So that's going to be that one. So we're going to have 4 of them, and we got all 4 years of the, sequential years, and so that's kind of the idea we're kind of stick with. The hauler that I built a while back was supposed to go with this, but it appears that the little 32 coupe has found a home. Has found a home on top of it, so we might have to address that later to see if whatever. And then we got to build Grandpa's car, and I think Grandpa's got like a 53, 54 Chevy that Grandpa's going to drive, and we haven't really decided on what that's going to be. But anyway, and his is just I mean, he's the one. He's the brains of the operation. And like I said before, these cars are all sponsored, painted the same, different numbers, but sponsored the same. It's all has to do with the food, like a grocery store chain or grocery stores or whatever, the Food City. So they're all going to be running the same colors, but different, different numbers, different whatever. But I mean, it's still a race team. And then so Grandpa's car is just his personal little getting around car, so he can get around and take care of everything and make everything happen. He's the businessman behind the whole thing. And so anyway, that's enough of that. But anyway, so just getting started, just getting going on this thing. And so far all I did is, like I said, cleaned everything up, worked on the front end, did what I needed to do to add the heavy duty suspension. And I just did put the oil pan on this. I'm going to use the 421 heavy duty Pontiac motor in here. Something with some, I think that thing would just love a half-mile track. Pontiacs make a lot of horsepower, and they got a ton of torque. And so I think that would just be a really good motor for, coming off the corners on a half-mile track. So anyway, that's what's going on. A couple things with the live feed. They were talking about different cars and what you do with them and whatever. And yeah, I said on there that there's not a kit in my collection that I wouldn't take a razor saw to. And that's true, because I don't have a collection as of collecting cars, is because they're valuable, they're whatever. They're only valued to me on what they are for parts. Every kit's made for building. And I've had expensive kits, and when I've got in on trades or bought a collection or did something, and ended up with some, and the first thing I do is sell them. If I can sell one kit and that I whatever and buy 5 more, hey, I'm all for it. And like I said, if I had one of those Rebels, those AMC Rebels, I'd make an altered wheelbase gasser out of it in a minute. And speaking of that, I did find yesterday, I did do some stuff on eBay, buying some parts kits and stuff like that. And I came across, it was either 61 or 62. I believe it was the Pontiac. It was either the Pontiac or the Olds Tempest Le Mans wagon, the smaller one. And I love those cars. And the problem is I just didn't have enough by the time I'd already got the other stuff to get it. And I have no problem. I got no problem paying $80 for a kit if it's something, that I want. And if I can afford it, then I'm going to pay. I've paid, I don't think I've paid more than, I think 90 is probably about the limit that I've paid for a kit. And, but, it's all what you got. If you only got $1, then, you're kind of limited to what you can buy. So, but, I got no problem, taking, chop, anything. I watched an article I was watching something, and they were talking about something about someone had found I guess it was like something like a 37 Pontiac coupe or, something kind of off the wall, which, whatever. And someone, oh God, that thing needs to be restored stock. Bullshit. You seen one, you seen them all. They look stock, they're painted one color, whatever. That'd be a whole lot better being a hot rod, a street rod, or something to at least, it's like restoring a Model A coupe. Okay? They all look the same, they're painted black. What more do you need to know? Sorry. Let's see, what else? The Camaro. The Camaro, the 69 Camaro, yesterday I started working on this. I was actually in the middle of cutting and getting everything ready, and all of a sudden it just, bam, went off in my head about trying that chassis on that Camaro, and it worked out. And so I sat down for about an hour and worked on it and cut and grind and got it to fit, got it to where I know it's going to be what I want it to be. and then that was it. So I put it back in the box until I can get back to it. And so that is officially the Junkyard Dog. The reason it's called the Junkyard Dog is because it's going to be bad, it's going to be mean, it's going to be flat black already. I already know that. This is no frills, just pure. This car is a pure going out, and it's not an actual race car. It is what has been called a canyon racer, which is basically an outlaw street car, road car, to go out in the mountains, go out in the wherever, and take it through the mountains, through the mountain roads, And I kind of grew up doing that kind of stuff and whatever, and always loved that idea. I mentioned the Big Red, and I went back and looked at it, and that car is similar, but not. It's similar, but not. It's not the one that there was a different one that I was thinking of. But anyway, still kind of the same thing. So it's going to be big and it's going to be bad. It's going to be made for one thing, and that's power, handling, and having fun. And it's going to be stealthy. It's going to be flat black, like I said. Anyway, so that's going to be the Junkyard Dog. And right now that looks like it's just going to be something for me that I want to do. And I haven't built a kit for me for a build for myself for a long time, so maybe I'll try to work that in with everything else. But anyway, so that's what's going on. Let me look. Got my camera just sitting here. So let's kind of go around here, and we'll. There wasn't much changing that I had to do to the. I'll get it turned around here so I can work. Basically, all I had to do is do some sanding, and I cut off the stuff in the front a little bit, added this piece in the back, and then because what I've done is I've changed. I've went from the steering box being behind the spindle on the back side to a steering box in the front. So that's when you hear the difference between you hear front steer, rear steer. That's what's being talked about. It's where the steering box is mounted. It's either in the front of the spindle or it's in the back of the spindle. So we went from a rear to a front, and I just put on the firewall and did a little bit of. So I got to do some grinding and cutting because there was a little cross member thing that I had to take out of there. And then so we'll get the motor mounts built, get that Pontiac sitting in there, and then also the upper A-frames are got to do a little bit of work up there, but not much. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? So right now, got to figure out which one's which. I've got a hole drilled right here for the to locate the A-frame. And so I'm going to get that there, and then I'll go ahead and I got the firewall already. Like I say, I'll get the front hoop, roll bar stuff built around there, some shocks and whatever, and that'll be the front. And then the back, I've got the stock leaf springs, which I might use, but I'm gonna go. They're kind of funky. I mean, these are the old Revels, and so there's not a lot of usable parts on here. I mean, some of the stuff, I mean, I guess it's usable, but some of it's kind of funky. So I'll probably change out the rear springs just like I did on the 55. The 55 had a. I think I put the Dana 60 in the 55. So, but we're gonna put this either the Pontiac or a quick change, one or the other. So anyway, so then I gotta go and fix the doors, knock all the chrome off, build a roll cage, and so that's kind of where we're at. So just chugging along, trying to get stuff done, and I'm about to run out of stuff here on my run out of battery and run out of everything else. So thanks everybody for watching, and like I say, if you need to get a hold of me, email me. I know there's some kind of private messaging and something through Yahoo, Google, whatever, but I can never ever find them. So either message me through my Outlaw Speed Shop on